What's up, guys? So I have stupidly taken on the task of reacting to the to Kim Belair's keynote speaky thing. It wasn't my best decision, but it is one decision in a series of decisions that are probably not going to be very good for my mental health. Possibly might be pretty good for comedic value and or just the catharsis of talking about stuff that is retarded in the world today. But yeah, let's just get in there. Let's get it started. Let's just do it. She's gonna say some stupid shit. Okay.
I want to start kind of at the beginning of my life. When I was small and starting to kind of express myself, I wrote about myself a lot. I think telling stories about people who are us, who look like us, is so important at that age.
People who are us and who look like us. She's talking about race.
And then I got into high school and suddenly I realized, like, my stories, the stories about people like me, weren't considered real or right. At the time, I was given this list of authors who I was told were legitimate. And as you can imagine, they were almost entirely white men.
Such a tragedy, dude. Oh, I'm so sorry you had to read white writers. I mean, there's like obvious things wrong with this. Like, first of all, a person's race doesn't matter, and she's saying that it does. And you might argue that the person who you are is directly influenced by your skin color, and that's true. In the same way that any other immutable characteristic influences your experience in life. You know, like if you have big fucking dumb hair like she does, if you're short, if you're tall, if you've got a big funny face, if you've got, like, you know, weird fingers, like the things that you can't change about yourself, those things are going to affect your experience in life. Yes, that's true, but it doesn't make you good and it doesn't make you bad. If you're black and you give me good advice, it's still good advice. If you're white and you give me good advice, it's still good advice. If you're a woman and you give me advice, I'll ignore it completely. Okay? If you're gay, straight, doesn't matter. Good advice is good advice.
Because when we read a book by, say, a woman or a Japanese author or a black author, those stories that we were being shown were usually about being a woman or about being Japanese or about being black. And they were usually about pain and how difficult it is and how terrible it is to be that kind of person.
If you're reading a book about racism in America, you're going to be reading about a different time period. America had some dark times. That's true. People like you always act like you're living in those times, but we're not. So you're actually just an idiot. I'm better than you, so you can go ahead of me. That's the kind of racism that you can expect to see today. It's a little sneakier than old school racism. Shit, man, I would rather have old school racism because at least old school racism didn't try to pretend to be anything else. It wasn't a wolf in sheep's clothing. It was just a wolf. It's like, okay, that's a wolf right there. I can fucking see that's a wolf. But this bitch right here and fucking people like her, they're dressed up in sheep's clothing. And it's so much creepier and it's so much more dangerous because it's so much more convincing that it's not what it is. Okay.
I spent years writing about white men. I made sure that I was going to put them in my stories because I thought I'm making more relatable art.
That's a you problem, bro. Our society defines a normal that we unconsciously follow, and so we manage representation as a deviation from what is normal. They cloak everything in these nice flowery terminology, you know, representation, inclusivity, equity. Happy. Let's all be equal, blah, blah, blah. But what she really actually means is less white. And that's racism. So don't fall for it because it's a Trojan horse.
This is a gift.
It's like, hey, here's something that's nice, and it gets in the door, and then suddenly, you know, it's like, oh shit, wait a minute, that was racism. Now I have this whole fucking job of trying to get rid of all the racism that I've just allowed into my company. This is what they do. She's a fucking Trojan horse. She is trying to get companies to allow Sweet Baby Inc. into their shizzle And then the Trojan horse is going to open up and it's going to pour out a bunch of fucking racist bullshit. And then your company sinks because the stories become about representation and inclusivity. The goal of these games are not to immerse you and entertain you. The goal of this type of media is to preach to you and tell you how shitty of a person you are and how you should change your ways and be like her.
One of the things that I delivered is something called risk assessment and sensitivity reading. And it's funny because when people hire me as a writer, they sometimes say like, oh, could we also get you for sensitivity reading and risk analysis? And I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm not going to make it racist and then make you pay me to make it unracist. Like,
that doesn't make any fucking sense. Of course, they don't expect that. When they hire you as a writer and as a sensitivity reader, they're probably talking about you get to write some stuff and we want you to read other shit so that you can make up racism and sexism and homophobia, project it onto other people's writings and then remove it. That's what they want you to do because they're fucking stupid.
This first moment that I made a black character, it always feels silly to talk about it no matter how many times I tell the story. And I would actually just make video game protagonists even when I was given the opportunity to make anything I wanted.
Oh, that's a fucking you problem, dude. That's an identity crisis problem. Normal people, when they have a character creator, they'll just make whatever they want to make. I often play as a girl. Sometimes I make a character who's just like a monstrosity. Move the sliders all around. You can do whatever you want, stupid. You don't have to be a white person or a black person. You could be a red person. That's the beauty of character creators. You can be whatever you want. Representation is no longer an issue. You get to avoid all the pearl clutching. She's saying that whenever she had a fucking character creator in front of her, she always made a white guy. That's not our problem. That's you. You're fucking weird. That makes you fucking weird. But she wants to blame video games as a whole. It's a systemic racism and misogyny and homophobia that made that happen. No, that's fucking you. You have no fucking identity. You're a fucking empty shell.
I made a black female character for myself in Mass Effect 2, and it felt really, really good. I was like, oh, I can just do this.
You're fucking racist. That makes you fucking racist. Do you know how many times I made a white character and thought, that feels really good? 0 fucking times. Not one fucking time. Not as a child, not as an adult. She's just racist. She's just a fucking racist person.
Hey, isn't this cool? Like, the scene in the game is like one of the rare opportunities and I got halfway through that text before I realized, oh, she's not gonna see that because her shepherd wasn't a black woman, it was a white woman. Her response was that like, oh, I haven't seen that enough either. That is really, really great for you and really, really cool to see.
Fucking hell, dude. If you're a person who responds this way to a person like her, and you're doing that unironically, you are an enabler. And you are also probably just about as stupid as her. Like, I knew people like this existed. I knew. I guess I just didn't want to believe it.
Wouldn't it be amazing if this bit of representation wasn't an accident? Actually been intention of the designers? What if game designers had set out to create a moment specifically targeted at people who did look like me?
What if we take character and throw that out the window and then just replace it with race or sexual orientation? Ooh, that sounds like a recipe for great character. What if that was the intention? These people are just so stupid, dude.
You can create moments that are not just like narratively compelling, but are genuinely new. And that newness works even for those who are not in that group. And that, I think, is another lesson that we keep failing to teach people. We say, okay, this moment, that's for you. This moment, that's for you. This moment, that's for you.
That isn't how it is. These moments are for everyone. Because it's video games. And that's why you don't relegate a person's character to their immutable characteristics, because only some people can identify with those immutable characteristics, but everybody can identify with the trials and tribulations of life, because everybody lives life. Everybody. These people just fucking...
We keep putting representation as like this little corner of something, or like this little direct marketing effort right to a niche.
I really hate her. This is the time period when this shit was at its peak, I think. 2019 was around the time when this shit started hitting fever pitch. And then it stayed for about 4 years, because this year is like the first year where people are like, hold on.
When we do cater to that audience, let's say, for example, it is the dominant audience. Let's embrace that and say, all right, that's who we're... Even then, we're still treating them like they're picky babies.
These are the fucking people who are running games today. This is how they see us. This is how these motherfucking people see us, the gamers, the fans, the people who love this shit, the people who give them money. They look at us like picky babies. Here's an idea. Maybe you should make a game all on your own. Just make a game however you feel like the game should be made, and put it out there and see if anybody likes it. Oh, wait, what? You already did that and it sucked and nobody fucking liked it? Okay, well, in that case, I guess you have to piggyback onto games that are liked by people and just inject your stupid thing that nobody likes into it, and then make that game company who was once beloved go tits up, and then move on to the next one. You're like fucking Locust. That's what Sweet Baby Inc. is, guys. That is what they fucking are.
White male audience as babies. We feed them the same thing that they love over and over and over again. And when you do that to a baby, then what happens when you give them something different, right? They react like picky babies. And they've managed to be so socialized in that way to our catering to them that what do we end up with, right? We worry that we've created this nation of picky babies who refuse to play our games if we give them anything but what they want.
You have to give us what we want because that's what we're paying for. Okay, stupid? And you're the ones who, like, not you, because you don't do anything except fucking latch on to a company and start drinking its blood. But real game developers, they started it. Like Santa Monica Studios, for instance, they made God of War. We loved God of War. And they thought, you know what we should do? Let's make another one. They liked this. They gave us a whole bunch of money. So maybe, just fucking maybe, we should try it again, see if it works twice. Guess what it did? It worked twice. It worked the second time. And then it worked the third time. And then it worked the fourth time. And then it worked the fucking fifth time. Even though the fifth time had a bunch of Sweet Baby Inc. bullshit in there, it also had mostly really, really great shit. But you can always tell when you're dealing with a section that Sweet Baby Inc. had something to do with. Here's the thing, guys. You can make characters whatever ethnicity, and if it's a good game, people will play it because it's a good game, and that's what gamers want. Gamers want good games. Gamers want good games with good stories. That's what we want, and that is all we want. This is something that these morons don't seem to be able to grasp. It's just about games being good or not. And the games that you're making are not good. They are games that have shitty mechanics, games that have a shitty story, like Alan Woke 2. Saga Anderson, who was race swapped from a white woman, she like just kind of wanders through a completely characterless city. She doesn't have to investigate anything. She just kind of closes her eyes and goes into her bullshit fucking ripoff of the Mind Palace, and that's how she gets her clues. She just conjures them into her brain. She's just making it up. She's supposed to be just going into her memories and analyzing them using this technique that she's developed. She's not supposed to be psychic. Anyway, players don't give a shit about the race of the protagonist. They don't fucking care. I mean, let's look at some games. What's that one game? Fucking Oddworld or something like that? Yeah, Oddworld. This is what the protagonist in Oddworld looks like. This is like a little alien, bro. This is just off the top of my fucking head. It doesn't have to be a white person. The story just needs to be good, and the mechanics in the game need to be good too. Nobody's thinking about race except for you. She's actually proving my point right now.
I have myself empathized with a lot of white male protagonists.
She even got a laugh there.
I felt a million feelings playing as Arthur Morgan, playing as Kratos, playing as Nathan Drake.
Yeah, kind of doesn't matter, does it? If you want to make a character a black female who has only one leg and is gay, you can do that. But the story needs to be good. You actually have to have creativity and be able to look past your own face and your own skin color and your own obsessions with those things. You actually have to have an artistic bone in your... That's it, folks. That's it. I've had enough of this shit. She's a racist, floofy-haired idiot, and she's just trying to inflict her own opinions onto everybody else because she thinks that her experience is more valuable than your experience. That's essentially what she keeps making me say. I'm sure there's some key stuff that you've probably already seen in other people's videos that she's gonna say and that you would like to see my reaction to. Maybe I'll keep watching this, and if there is something, I'll like add it to the thing. But otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm a brand new YouTuber, and if you are enjoying this type of content, this is the direction that I'm going to be taking in the future, talking about movies and games and this kind of stuff. Anything that really catches my eye or pisses me off, I want to be talking about it because I really think that everybody who should speak up about this. We need to gatekeep the fuck out of this hobby. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.